Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you could save your life, or at the very least, your sanity and your soul. We're going to talk about something that's rarely discussed openly, but that affects every single one of us: the dangerous people who walk among us, driven by envy and falsehood. Now, when I say dangerous, I don't necessarily mean physically violent, although that can certainly be a manifestation of what we're discussing. No, the danger I'm referring to is often more subtle, more insidious. It's the kind of danger that can erode your self-confidence, sabotage your relationships, and derail your life's purpose if you're not vigilant. You see, envy and falsehood are like a cancer of the soul. They eat away at a person's integrity, their ability to engage honestly with the world and themselves. And like a cancer, they don't stay contained. They metastasize, spreading their poison to everyone around them.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Let's start with envy. Envy is not just a fleeting emotion or a minor character flaw. It's a fundamental orientation towards life, a lens through which some people view their entire existence. The envious person is constantly comparing themselves to others, always finding themselves lacking and, this is the crucial part, resenting others for their perceived advantages or successes. Now, it's important to distinguish envy from admiration or healthy competition. If you see someone who's achieved something you aspire to, and it motivates you to work harder, to improve yourself, that's not envy. That's inspiration. Envy is darker. Envy doesn't want to rise to the level of the person they're envying. Envy wants to drag that person down. You've probably encountered this in your own life. Maybe you've had a friend who always seems to have a snide comment ready when you share good news, or a colleague who goes out of their way to undermine your accomplishments. These are the manifestations of envy, and they can be incredibly destructive if you don't recognize them for what they are. But here's the thing. The truly dangerous, envious person is often very good at hiding their envy. They might present themselves as supportive, even admiring. They might shower you with compliments, but there's always a sting in the tail. Wow, you got a promotion. That's amazing. I guess all those late nights at the office paid off. I hope it doesn't affect your family life too much. See what's happening there? The surface message is positive, but underneath, there's an implication that your success came at a cost, that it might lead to problems. This is how envy operates in its more sophisticated forms. It doesn't attack directly. It plants seeds of doubt, of guilt, of insecurity. So, how do you recognize these people? Well, one key indicator is how they react to the successes and failures of others. The envious person will often be quick to celebrate others' failures, even if they try to disguise it as concern or sympathy, and they'll struggle to genuinely celebrate others' successes, often finding ways to diminish or qualify those achievements. Another telltale sign is a persistent victim mentality. Envious people often see themselves as constantly wronged by the world, always getting the short end of the stick. They have a litany of excuses for why they haven't achieved what they believe they deserve, and these excuses always involve external factors or other people holding them back. Now, let's turn to falsehood. This is closely related to envy, because the envious person often resorts to dishonesty to level the playing field they perceive as unfairly tilted against them. But falsehood goes beyond just lying. It's about a fundamental disconnection from truth, a willingness to distort reality to serve one's own ends. The dangerous liar isn't just someone who occasionally bends the truth. We all do that to some extent. white lies to spare someone's feelings, exaggerations to make a story more interesting. No, the truly dangerous person is one who has made falsehood a way of life, who has become so disconnected from truth that they may not even recognize the difference anymore. These people are masters of gaslighting, making you question your own perceptions and memories. They'll deny saying things you clearly remember them saying. They'll rewrite history to cast themselves in a better light. And if you confront them with evidence of their lies, they'll find a way to twist it, to make you feel like you're the one who's confused or mistaken. One of the most insidious forms of falsehood is what I call the truth sandwich. This is when someone wraps their lies in a layer of truth, making them much harder to detect and refute. They'll start with something true, slip in the lie, and then end with another truth. It's like hiding a bitter pill in a spoonful of honey. Before you know it, you've swallowed the whole thing. So how do you spot these masters of deception? Well, one key is to look for inconsistencies in their stories. Liars often have trouble keeping their narratives straight, especially over time. They might contradict themselves, or their stories might become more elaborate or change in key details with each retelling. Another red flag is a person who seems to have a ready excuse or explanation for everything. Life is messy and complicated, and honest people often have to admit to uncertainty or mistakes. Someone who never seems to be wrong, who always has a perfectly plausible explanation for any discrepancy, is often constructing an elaborate facade of falsehoods. Pay attention also to how they treat information. Dangerous liars often try to control the flow of information, to be the gatekeeper of what others know. They might discourage you from talking to certain people or checking certain sources. They might insist that they're the only reliable source of information on a particular topic. Now, why am I telling you all this? Why is it so important to be able to recognize these traits in others? Because these people, the envious and the false, they're not just unpleasant to be around. They're actively dangerous to your well-being and your ability to live a meaningful life. You see, we are deeply social creatures. Our understanding of ourselves and the world is profoundly shaped by our interactions with others. If you surround yourself with envious people, people who can't genuinely celebrate your successes or support your growth, it becomes incredibly difficult to achieve your potential. Their negativity seeps into your subconscious, making you doubt yourself, hesitate when you should act boldly. And if you allow yourself to be manipulated by those who have no regard for truth, you'll find your grip on reality slowly slipping. You'll start to doubt your own perceptions, your own judgment. You'll become paralyzed by uncertainty, unable to trust your own decision-making abilities. This is why it's absolutely crucial to be discerning about who you allow into your life, who you give your trust and your time to. You need to cultivate a keen eye for these traits, to trust your instincts when something feels off about a person or a situation. But here's the really challenging part. You also need to look for these traits in yourself. Because the truth is, we all have the capacity for envy and falsehood within us. We've all felt that twinge of resentment at someone else's success. We've all been tempted to twist the truth to make ourselves look better. The difference is in how we handle these impulses. Do we indulge them, let them grow and fester until they become defining traits? Or do we recognize them for what they are, manifestations of our own insecurities and fears, and choose to confront them honestly? This is where the real work begins. Because recognizing these traits in others is important, but the real transformation comes when you start to root out these tendencies in yourself. When you can look at your own envy and say, "This isn't about them. This is about my own feelings of inadequacy, my own fears of not measuring up. When you can catch yourself in a lie and have the courage to correct it, even if it means facing uncomfortable consequences. In the next part, we'll dig deeper into the psychological roots of envy and falsehood. We'll explore why some people seem to be more prone to these traits and what we can do to guard against them in ourselves and others. We'll also discuss the societal factors that seem to be exacerbating these tendencies in our modern world. But for now, I want you to really sit with this idea that the most dangerous threats to your well-being and your ability to live a meaningful life might not be external circumstances or events, but the poisonous influence of envious and dishonest people, including the parts of yourself that are tempted towards these traits. Think about the people in your life. Are there any who consistently make you feel smaller, less capable, less worthy? Are there any whose version of reality seems to shift and change to always cast them in the best light? These are the people you need to be wary of. And then turn that scrutiny inward. When was the last time you felt a surge of resentment at someone else's good fortune? When was the last time you told a lie, even a small one, to make yourself look better? These are the moments where you have a choice: to indulge these impulses and let them grow, or to confront them honestly and choose a different path. Remember, the goal isn't to become paranoid or to cut yourself off from all human connection. It's to develop the discernment and the inner strength to navigate the complex web of human relationships without losing yourself. It's to become the kind of person who can recognize truth and falsehood, who can celebrate others' successes without feeling diminished, who can face your own shortcomings with honesty and courage.